That's a gay-ass podcast.
What? That's a gay-ass podcast. What? A really, really, really gay podcast that we call That's a Gay-Ass Podcast.
That's a gay-ass name for a gay-ass podcast.
Welcome back to That's a Gay-Ass Podcast, the podcast that asks, whose fault is it that you're gay? It is me, Eric Williams, and this week we have the SNL alum and Agatha All Along star, Sasheer Zamata, on the podcast. Now, she actually came out last year, so it's a pretty big darn deal to talk to an out gay person the first year after being publicly homosesh. So I'm so thrilled that we got to do it here on That's a Gay-Ass Podcast. I'm also thrilled that so many of you have been messaging me every single day that you've been posting or voting for us in the Queerties Awards. Truly, it makes my whole gape. I am so grateful. And we could win this thing. Imagine, That's a Gay-Ass Podcast, a little show that could. If you want to vote for us every single day, continue to do so until February 25th. The link is in the description because that award show is happening next month. All right, let's get into this episode with Sasheer, where we not only talk about the post-musical dinners we would do at Steak and Shake, we talk about Sasheer being a witch herself and maybe using her witchy magic to book roles. We talk about SNL nightmares, and most importantly, we talk about alien fucking. Enjoy this episode with Sasheer Zamata. Sasheer Zamata, it is so gorgeous to have you on this gay-ass podcast, not only because you have worked on many big parts of pop culture. It's giving SNL for multiple seasons. It's giving the Best Friends podcast with Nicole Byer, one of my favesies. Yeah. But of course, it's also giving you playing Jennifer Kale and Agatha All Along, which leads me to our first controversial question that I would love for you to answer. Why do gay people love witches so fucking much? Is it our connection to otherism and our fight against the church? Or do we simply just love Debbie Reynolds and Halloween Town? What the fuck is going on?
I mean, honestly, I think most pop culture witches feel like gay icons. Like, you know, the Sanderson sisters, Angela Bassett as Marie Laveau. It just feels like very much, you know, queer culture. But also I kind of think what you said at the beginning applies too. Like witches kind of represent a fabulous freeness that scares some people. And, you know, most of the time they're minding their business, doing their little spells and stuff. And then for some reason, these boring townspeople want to off them. So
you're
I think
right. Wait, you're getting me. I'm having an epiphany. Witches are sluts who love to cook. And that's what a lot of gay people are. Listen.
They like to cook. They like to craft.
Hello? I mean, The Craft. There's Nicole Kidman in Practical Magic, proud slut, and I very much love that. Sandra Bullock is more giving sort of like, I'm like a little repressed, but deep down I want to fuck Mark Feuerstein, which who doesn't? But I feel like you're right. There's like, it's just like girlies doing their own weird thing. They want to be left alone, but they're literally burned at the stake. And I kind of feel like, a lot of gay people are like, why are you all up on my grill? I'm just trying to come up with a gorgeous charcuterie board.
Truly. Yeah. Yeah. And for some reason that bothers people. And I don't actually know why, but it does. And I think there's like a feeling of feeling seen when you see a story about witches or anyone being outcast for just being themselves.
It's also like the villain thing. I feel like I'm thinking of Angelica Houston in The Witches, like she's sort of like a fabulous evil queen. And I think, but when it comes to your experience with witchery, you've come out in interviews as saying like you kind of manifested Agatha all along, because in your special, The First Woman, you have jokes about witches, and then that was before you even auditioned. So like, true question, do you feel like you have witchy qualities? Do you have, because I believe in that shit.
Yeah, I do think I have like a strong manifestation power. I feel like pretty attuned with nature. And yeah, I mean, honestly, when I was younger, I used to have these dreams that I don't know if they were premonitions, but like I would like write my dreams down often and like have a dream journal. And then sometimes something that happened in my dream would happen in real life. And then eventually I stopped writing them down. I don't know why. Maybe I was afraid of the power.
Your own powers, yeah.
My own powers. But yeah, I do feel like a little bit of like the energy happening.
Ugh, I love an energy. Are you like a crystal girl outside of comedy and acting? Are you like, we have
I do have
our
a bunch of crystals. Yeah, I got a lot of crystals. I got a whole altar by my door. Yeah, I do like them.
I love that stuff so much because I'm going to tell you something. I was at a nudie resort in Palm Springs for my husband's birthday, and there was this guy that I met. Shout out to Ty, new friend who's a fan of the pod. And he was telling me about all of his sort of empath vibes, magic stuff. And I said to him, I was like, are you a medium? And he got all bashful. He's like, I am. I usually don't talk about it. And then like, it's just, I know some people think it's bullshit, but
yeah.
I'm all about the universe and like manifesting. And it feels like you've been manifesting a lot in your life. Like, do you think kind of Agatha All Along came out of your manifestation? Did SNL come because you like felt like you were ready? And it was, how are these dreams coming true with your witchy powers is what I want to know.
Yes and yes. I mean, of course, there's also like a lot of prep that I did beforehand, you know, like years and years of acting and performing and writing, etc. But yeah, for SNL, I manifested that too. I was like saying out loud, I want to be on this show. I want this to happen. Of course, I was also making characters and things like that and auditioning multiple times, but also I said it. I wanted it and I got it. And yeah, it happened. Then it happened with Agatha, where I was already doing this research on witchcraft and witch history and putting it in my stand-up. And then I knew this show was a thing. Like I knew they were going to do a spinoff with the Agatha character from WandaVision. And I remember telling my reps, I need to be seen for this. And like it was a long gap between like when they announced they were going to do the show to when they started auditioning people. But yeah, I felt very kismet, and I was like, "Oh, I think this is perfect." I remember telling the producers, "Like, did you know you hired a witch, like an actual witch?" You know? It felt really appropriate.
It's so cool to me that you're also like speaking into existence what you want, because I think some of us are so afraid of doing that. Like it could apply to anything. It could be like within dating, it could be like within career. Just like I feel like you are putting yourself first in a way that you are believing in yourself enough to even say what you want, let alone making it happen. The making it happen is like the miracle and the hard work and the universe. But like the saying what you want is the believing in yourself, because sometimes that's like the hardest thing is being like, I want to and deserve to be on a show with Catherine Hahn and Patti LuPone.
Yeah.
And then you lived a gay man's big dream. I mean, if there was someone who came up to you and said, you are living my fucking dream. You're doing stunt work. You're on set doing conga lines with Patti LuPone. I want to Freaky Friday you and take your job. Are you going to let this gay guy have it?
Absolutely not. I earned it. This is my job. This is also my dream.
So let's get into that then, because you came out last year publicly. And I feel like that is... I feel very lucky to be interviewing you right now, because I feel like, of course, as you've said in your interviews, that you've been out personal and you keep a lot of your private life very private, but you felt like it, of course, meant something to have this sort of public stance. So like, I feel like much like when a bride gets married and they have a magical bride energy, or just they like feel like they're the center of attention and they should have the attention, that's a magic in itself. But I feel like the first year of someone coming out, that's another type of magic. How are you feeling right now? You're on a gay ass podcast, you're like publicly out, you're doing these like very queer centric things when it comes to Agatha and it comes to your work. Where are you at in the journey? How is it feeling now being this out and proud queer
It feels nice.
person? Yeah,
I've gotten nothing but like just warmth and love and just this welcoming energy. And yeah, I think being on a show like Agatha, there's so many queer themes going on, and there's a huge queer audience enjoying it. And I kind of, not that I was ever hiding myself, but it didn't feel necessary to talk about.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, it doesn't feel good to not talk about it amidst this time. So yeah, I'm just so happy that people know, and that's that, and it feels normal, and you know, no one's surprised, and people were like, I didn't know she wasn't out. That's the biggest reaction I've gotten, is people being like, she was in? huh? This girl?
Well, okay, this brings up a great question because I feel like a lot of people who come out, people say that to them. They're like,
Yeah.
sweetie, I knew. In fact, someone said that to me when I came out, and I was also like 18 or 19, and I was like kind of pissed. But like, you're a much more evolved human being that like knows your worth. You know that like what the important thing is. Does that piss you off when people said I didn't know you were in?
No, it makes me laugh. I think it's hilarious because also that is also what happened in my life. I feel like people around me were like, "Are you sure?" And then I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like I wasn't even thinking about it. It wasn't like I was, this repressed teen who like felt like I had to hide. I truly wasn't even thinking. And then like as I got older, it was like, wait a minute. Something else is feeling different in here because I was with men most of my life, but it wasn't until the last few years where I was like, this I'm feeling something new here, but not necessarily new, just louder. Honestly, something louder is happening.
That's a great way of putting it. It's like the loudness of the voice makes it very hard to ignore. And we might not know why you weren't hearing it as loud earlier. I mean, you have said in an interview that going off of birth control, you feel like maybe like changed your body's reception to it, which I think is really interesting because there is a biological element to like hearing what you hear.
Yeah, I do believe that. I don't want to like blame birth control, but also I did get on it when I was 16 for like having heavy periods. And instead of like doctors being like, let's figure out your diet or like what else is your hormones. It was just like birth control and that's it. And that's what, I was for truly most of my life, most of my adult life, I was on birth control. And then I got off in my 30s and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like now I'm feeling like my natural body and things are shifting. Pheromones feel different than they did before. And like, yeah, it really did feel like an awakening for my psyche, for my body, everything.
Add it to the list of what Big Pharma is doing wrong. Keeping gay people out of tune with their horny gay urges. Fuck you, Pfizer. But you know what, Sasheer? If we're talking about our awakening as gay people, I have to ask you the famous Gay Ass Podcast question, which is, whose fault is it that you're gay? Who do we blame, babe?
Who do we blame? I mean, one thing that comes to mind is this like really, I think it was like softcore porn when I was a teenager or something on Cinemax or something.
Yes.
I feel like it was called Electra in Space or something like that. There was like a whole space storyline where this hot alien lady came to Earth to like research Earth. I don't know. And she was just like getting fucked, but like also by ladies. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not opposed. Like this is interesting.
Lepidus, or vagina. I do regret saying that, but I also, had to try it out. That's hot. A fucking alien slut who comes down to Earth just to get her world rocked by any genitalia available.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. She was like getting bathed in one scene by like all these like farmhand women. I don't know. I was like, I mean, this is interesting. This is also research for me. I'm just, what is it like?
What is it like to be bathed by a bunch of farmhand females?
Yeah.
There's so many levels here that I think is a genius answer. Is one, Skinemax, I feel like in those type of softcore, like I have a visceral image of like the music playing and just like hands on nipples, but like that was it. But you're still like, well, I'm intrigued. I don't know like what part of this I'm intrigued by. But then the second part of it is, again, the fucking like alien witchy otherworldliness. But it's like, when you say she's getting fucked, like were you seeing just the suggestion of it? Or like,
it was like her
clearly
face
seeing like
getting pleasure.
penetration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No penetration, but just like a lot of rubbing and then like pleasure noises and such. And you're like, oh, something crazy is happening. I don't know what it is, but she loves it.
There's something so gay about like a hand on a chest and like like there's something, because like you're not like, I don't think straight men are like watching porn because of like the soft touch and the moaning face. Like they want to see like of course I'm generalizing, but they want to see fucking degradation and just like pam, 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 pam. Whereas we're like, did you see the way her face changed when her nipple was grazed and the soap suds went down her? It's like, even like me, a gay guy who biologically tried to be with women and I couldn't do it. Even that sounds hot to me. A woman in a bath.
Yeah, it is hot. Yes. I actually stumbled upon like, I don't know how I did it because my algorithm is not usually like this. But so for some reason, Instagram started feeding me massage videos where like.
Oh my God. It's my number one fantasy.
I mean, same, actually. Anytime I'm getting a massage, I'm like, even if the person's not hot, I'm just like, well, what if? What if a thumb
you
slipped?
start arching your back.
Yeah, it's like, what? I have a cramp right on the inner thigh.
Yeah. No, my cramp is on my prostate. It's like we don't need to unpack, but sometimes it's fun to ask ourselves, why do we have daddy issues? Why do we have mommy issues? And why do we want the masseuse to take advantage of us inappropriately? And I very, very much have that. It's like, you know what it is? It's fucked up for me. And yours could be different. What's fucked up for me is I think I want a masseuse to do things because there's partly a wrongness to it. And there's a power dynamic that I am at beneath them, and there's something about like why did I want to like suck my 7th grade pre-algebra teacher's dick? Like he was the soccer coach and he taught pre-algebra. He doesn't have that much power, but enough that I was like wanting to get my knees scabby.
I can see that. I think I also want to be chosen. It's like like this person's massaging hundreds of people a week, but for some reason there's something special about me that he just had to move the hands in a way that, you know, got taken over. The professionalism went out the window because they saw my body and they're like, I cannot resist.
You had the it factor as a masseuse client. Yeah, no, that's very true. There's a chosenness. And I stand tall today saying that I have not yet been taken advantage of by a masseuse, but I do want it to happen one day. But like, has your dream come true where you had a little eater?
No eater. Like there's been moments where I'm like, oh, is this the day? But it's never the day. It's never been the day. And also if it actually ever happened, I don't actually know how I'd react. I'd be like, I don't know if I'd be like,
you fully care
hell
out.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe like, excuse me.
You're all talk.
Tell you. Yeah, truly. I actually just finished the L Word, the original version of it, and there was a scene where Kit Porter, played by Pam Grier, is talking to a drag queen and saying, if I see a man in the supermarket and he's super hot, it's my fantasy that he walks up to me and says, excuse me, I would love to take you out to dinner and wake up with your body wrapped around me in the morning. And then the drag queen who had a crush on Kit, like the next day is out of drag, now looks like a straight man, walks up to her in an art gallery and is like, excuse me, I'd love to take you out to dinner and wake up next to you with you wrapped around my body. And she threw her drink in his face. I was like, how dare you, you disgusting pig.
That's you
like,
on the massage table.
Yes.
Get your fucking hands off of me, you fucking freak. Have you heard of the Better Business Bureau?
I'm reporting you.
Yeah, Sasheer Zamata makes headline news by canceling the masseuse at Massage Envy.
And then like every other client's mad at me because they were getting the same treatment. They're like, excuse me.
That happens in Sex and the City.
It does happen in Sex and the City.
Yeah, there's
Samantha
something
get.
Yes.
I don't think she didn't get it, and she reported it or something.
Yeah, because all the other women said how good he was. Was it? Yeah. I don't know if he was like, and I'm conflating. Maybe there's also an episode where there's a hot server at a restaurant, and they're all. Oh, I remember this. This is a deep cut. Julia Murney, who was Elphaba in Wicked, big theater gal in New York. She and Samantha have a face-off in a restaurant because they're both trying to like get the hot server. Yeah,
they're like waiting all night to be the last person so that he could leave with them. And they were
and I think that's the same scene. One of my favorite niche lines from Sex and the City is there's a loud child being really annoying, and the mom says, "Look at you eating your pesto." That's all. There's just, but look at you watching the original season of the L Word You are just truly, you are
cramming it in, doing my homework.
Really, you're studying abroad. You're doing lesbian study abroad. It's so good though, because I feel like you're such an exciting person to talk to because you have, of course, a genius level of talent, an incredible resume, but also you are so open to an experience of being queer without judgment or shame. I feel like so many times when people come to terms with it at a younger age, you have to like really sift through, I'm a piece of shit. People think I'm a piece of shit, but like you have worked with enough people, whether they are queer or otherwise, that like you know what your value is outside of it. So it feels like it's almost like a more fun discovery, unless I'm fully projecting.
No, it feels very fun. Yeah. And I think I already have a bunch of queer friends, and yeah, I feel like I don't feel like I'm really discovering myself that much. It's just a different part of myself. But me as a person is the same, I guess. And also kind of how I interact in the world is the same. And, you know, I'm in the arts. So like, thankfully it's welcome here. Like it's very welcome here. And I don't feel like anything, nothing has changed that much. Honestly, I was also doing a ton of queer roles before I came out. So I
was going to say, that's such an incredible quote you have about like how Hollywood essentially turned you gay. Like, actually I have it here. You said that I played a lesbian on Home Economics. I played a lesbian on Woke. I played a lesbian on Tuca and Birdie, a lesbian on The Last OG. I kept getting these roles, and this is before I myself was figuring out my identity. I was like, whoa, what are these casting directors seeing that I'm not seeing? Hollywood turned you gay.
And so the conservatives are right. It's true. They really.
Sorry. I mean, listen, sometimes we have to affirm foxnews.com, but like, I'm happy that Hollywood turned us gay because I prefer to be this way than straight.
I agree.
Is there like it's hard for someone like you've even said how like SNL was your bucket list, you check it off. Agatha All Along was like a huge thing. You check it off. Like, is there, whether it's gay related or otherwise, are we manifesting your witchy powers for like a next project or even just like horny weekend or anything that like, what do you have any manifestations on your list right now?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to do more action stuff. Like doing all the stunts in Agatha was so fun. And I was like, I could do more of this for sure. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. Yeah. I would love to direct. I've like directed some sketches here and there in my past, but I've never like directed anything, you know, like a movie or a short film or anything like that. But I would love to express my voice in that way too. I'd just like to do more, get my voice out there more.
Fuck yeah. It's just like, it's all about just saying what we want and then having the bravery to pursue it. But you went through something that you had to be so brave for, which is SNL. I mean, are you like getting any SNL? Do you have any SNL nightmares that still come up years after having done it?
I was actually just talking about this yesterday. Yes, I occasionally, there'll be like one of those like stress dreams where like SNL is a school and I'm late for class, but the class is actually a sketch that I wrote, but it's on air and I'm not there yet. And it's like, you know, just like I'm missing the hallway that takes me to the stage. Yeah. And I've been off the show for almost 10 years. And I still have these dreams occasionally, and they'll be random too.
Well, it's like the stakes were so high. I mean, like live national television. I still get stress dreams from like a musical I did 10 years ago. Like it's like, it's all so in your body. But it's also interesting how like there was a lot of historic news happening when you joined. I mean, you were the first Black female cast member to join since Maya Rudolph left in 2007. So there was like a lot of, I don't know if it felt like pressure, but then there was a lot of change happening. And then as the years have gone by, I feel like the show has gotten more gay. Like obviously Bowen Yang is killing it. There's more queer writers. Let's talk about like, let's say you were like on the show now as like this open, loud, proud person. Is there a celebrity host that would make you incredibly soaking wet? And they could be from any era. Like, is there any host that you would be like, I would just love to be in the same room as?
I'm sure. I mean, I feel like Eddie Murphy's like a cicada, like comes out every 17 years to bring us joy. So if there was a time where I could have been on the show at the same time as Eddie, I would have died for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I loved Kristen Wiig, and I can't Also my memory's bad for that show because we did so much. Like every week was like so many sketches, and then you just like flush your brain out, and then there's a new week and a new host happening. So I want to say I don't think I was on the show when Kristen Wiig hosted, but also maybe I was. I actually don't know. Sometimes people will say things that I've done, and I'm like, huh? I guess I did.
What a mind fuck. It's like, because I mean, I have a list of like, your first episode was hosted by Drake. Then you've also done shows. Octavia Spencer hosted, Melissa McCarthy, Andrew Garfield, Cameron Diaz, Amy Adams, The Rock, Taraji P. Henson, Reese Witherspoon, Emma Stone. I mean, it's like, I understand why you would maybe start to like lose track of. It probably takes away, I don't know, actually. I mean, like, does it take away the nervousness when like another person comes in the room that's like, sure, has a huge audience, a ton of money, but you're just like, we're all fucked up, we're all just trying to make a show happen on Saturday night? Like, did it take away any of the mystery or energy around these larger than life people?
I think so, a little bit, yeah, because sometimes if it's their first time hosting, they're a newbie in this huge environment that's already been going for decades. So it's like, yeah, exactly. We're all trying to figure this thing out and make a good show. And I do feel like there's a bit of like we're all in this together.
It's like theater camp in a way.
Yeah, yeah. We're all doing it for the show. And I do feel like ego kind of gets like left at the door, where it's like, even if you're a favorite or like your sketches always get on, something's going to happen in a way that you don't want. Like, part of your scene's going to get cut.
Yeah.
A character's going to change for some reason. A outfit's going to change. Like, something will change, and it's not going to be your vision the way you thought it was going to be on Monday. Like, by Saturday, it could be morphed into something else.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of freedom in that, because it's like, you know what? I'm just leaving it up to the comedy gods. Like, I just wanted to get to air. So I just wanted to get here.
But it truly is incredible that it's the 50-year anniversary. You're on the cover of New York Magazine with Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, A.D. Bryant, Martin Short, John Mulaney, Amy Poehler. Did you all shoot that cover together, or was it all?
Did. Oh! We did. We actually shot it, I think, the day after the election, or like 2 days after or something. It was like after it was announced that Trump won. We had to go to the studio, and I was like, what is this day going to be like? Like I want to be in bed all day. Like, I don't even want to step outside my house. But like, it actually was really wonderful to be in the same space. And we, there was kind of like actual like giggly vibe happening, because, they're all comedians. So like, yeah. I do actually love being around comedians, in moments of like high stress or like tragedy or something, because like that's our job, is to perceive what's happening in culture and kind of have a third eye on what's happening. So even though it's not like we talked about the election all day, but there was just like a nice knowing of like, yeah, yep. and yeah, and it was just like a really laughy, fun day. And like, it was also a nice reunion, because I haven't seen a lot of those people in a really long time. So yeah, it was a nice way to spend the day.
Well, that's, I think, the magic about comedians too, is like, sure, there's the question of too soon, but in a way, for comedians, it can almost be never too soon to just like try to find where the laugh is, even when things are dire. It's the same fucking thing. I try not to get too dark about what's going on in politics, but obviously it's like, you can't ignore the stuff that's going around, and whether it's the devastating way they're trying to like erase trans people, or take away like the website for, LGBTQ rights on the White House website. All of it's like so dark, but I feel like what comedians do and what queer people do is like figure out either where the joke is or how to survive. And Dan Savage has a great quote about like, during the AIDS crisis, while we were fighting during the day, at nighttime we were going into clubs and dancing and finding community. And it's like, I'm not going to put my head down in defeat during these 4 years, but I am going to put my head down and focus on my own community while finding the fucking laugh and protecting us. But also like, it's like I feel like I'm putting straight men in a basement, closing the door, and let them play beer pong and ruin the wallpaper.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like this. What's that quote that's like not my circus, not my monkeys, or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like I didn't get us here. I didn't do this. Good luck.
Literally, good
I'm gonna
luck.
take care of everyone I love, and we are gonna try to be as safe as possible. But like y'all go enjoy that.
Literally, y'all go enjoy that. Now, something that I enjoy on this podcast is sometimes putting our guests through the ringer by playing a game we like to call Slay or Nay. I'm going to give you a topic and you're going to tell me, Sasheer, is this a slay or is it a nay?
Okay.
Number 1, slay or nay, Sasheer. Flip-flops in Manhattan. Slay or nay?
Nay. Ugh. Oh my God. Yeah, you just don't know what's going to be on the ground. It could be urine. It could be feces. It could be like a rat carcass. No, I wouldn't. I don't even want to walk in the city with white shoes. Like, even though I have shoes on, I don't want to have the city remnants on them. Don't do that.
I made the mistake the first year I moved to New York. I was a freshman in college, flip-flops, Union Square, stepped into like a rat bath. It truly changed. I probably changed my DNA, if we're being honest. Okay, slay or nay, the rise of Chili's Bar and Grill.
The rise? What's happening? Is it getting more popular?
Nathanael, what's happening with Chili's Bar and Grill?
Chili's has picked up their quarter, I think 50% every quarter in the last 6 years. They attribute it to TikTok and Instagram. But yes, Chili's. I got my Chili's, baby, back ribs. They're coming back, baby.
Okay, so Chili's is now, we're having a renaissance of Chili's. Slay or nay? Chili's and American chain restaurants.
I'm going to say slay. I mean, we don't want fast casual restaurants to die. Like, bring it back. People are so used to just drive-throughs. This is community now. We're going inside of the restaurant. We're having fun. We're going to a buffet. Like, yes, bring back Chili's.
This is community. And you know what? It brings me back to cast hangouts after the musical. You would go to Steak and Shake. You would go
I literally went to Steak and Shake after musicals.
Oh,
yes.
Girl. Same. Midwestern here. Steak and Shake. I mean, obviously the steak burger, the teeny fucking fries, the Reese's peanut butter cup milkshake. I do miss that, like, as an adult, like a group of people that like slightly annoy the server or very much annoy the server while you're like talking about how amazing the show was. Like, I kind of miss that in big groups. Well, but let's bring back that.
I feel like my friends and I still do that, but we do it in small groups, so we're all loud. So I do feel like we're still the people that people are like, could you tell that group over there to be quiet? And we're like, what? Oh, someone's mad.
They're like, sorry, it's Sasheer Zamata and Nicole Byer. We're not going to tell them to shut up. They deserve. Slay or nay, Zac Efron's brother on The Traitors.
Slay, I guess. I don't know.
Are you not watching?
I haven't been watching, no, and I don't know who his brother is, but good luck to him, I guess. What has he been doing?
He's been actually I didn't watch this last past week's episode, but I've been watching, and people were like, Zac Efron's brother, why the fuck is he there? He's nobody. And of course, he's like the most charming, like he's won the audience over. He's beautiful. And,
good.
And so, I say slay, but he's to me, because he's a straight guy that I think has been around gay people and isn't weird about it. Like you can tell some people are like talking about Bob the drag queen in ways that they like never interacted with either a drag queen or just a queer person. But like, to me, he's been around gays. I could be wrong, but that to me is the marker of a straight man that's like safe.
His brother is like a musical theater nerd icon. So like, of course, I would assume the whole family's been around gay people since they were all teens.
Maybe he did a show with Zac Efron and then went to Steak and Shake with him after.
Must have.
Okay, pitch the show, Sasheer. Pitch the musical that Zac Efron and his brother did in high school together. Was it Oliver? What was it?
Probably Joseph and the Technicolor Dream.
You're absolutely right.
Coat. Yeah.
Zac played Joseph and Dylan was one of the brothers. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, honestly, they got to greenlight the What's up, Wicked Direct? John Chu needs to get us Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dream coat.
I'd love to see it.
Sasheer, slay or nay, people doing porn memes of the Inside Out dad.
I'm gonna say nay, just because I want to keep it a little pure. This was not the intention. I don't think Pixar envisioned this for this character's journey. You know, we have a litany of inspiration we can get from the internet. Leave Pixar alone.
You know, I asked you the question, but I'm going to leave you to your opinion and tell you why you're wrong. The Inside Out dad does deserve to be porn memified because why not use the technology we have today and use the artistry that we have today to picture the Inside Out dad's girthy piece? Sure, we can either see it underneath the bulge of a jean, but why not use Photoshop, Canva, and other platforms to show us the mushroom head?
Wow. I guess, you know, and that is me. Maybe it's because I'm not necessarily attracted to the to the Inside Out dad that I was like, no, but I've definitely crushed on cartoons when I was younger. So
then we're going to have to follow up questions, Sasheer. Who is the cartoon, either Disney princess or person or Pixar, that you don't need to see porn memes of, but that you have had a crush on?
Do you know a Goofy movie?
I do.
Roxanne.
Oh,
with the long red hair.
Absolutely.
What a babe. What a damn babe. Yeah. Still to this day, I'm like, she's also a hottie.
What's Space Jam?
Lola Bunny.
the love interest.
Yeah, very hot. I mean, she was also like super sexualized in that movie. Like, I mean, the ball was bouncing and so were the tits. It was like all over the place. We were supposed to be attracted to her. They designed her that way. Yeah,
so again, like Hollywood was trying to make me straight, but they kind of did the opposite with me.
And then for me.
Yeah. Let's do one more slay or nay because these have been fun. Sasheer, slay or nay? People saying casted instead of they were cast.
Nay. And maybe, you know, maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know if that's the new cast. I don't even know what's grammatically correct, but it just sounds bad. They got casted.
Correct. It's not correct.
Yeah, I'm like, you sound dumb. This is a dumb person way to say this. They got cast.
You sound dumb is the name of the episode. Thank you for playing Slayer Nay, Sasheer. You were so game and such perfect answers, except you're on the right side, the wrong side of history with the Inside Out dad. Now, since we have to get towards the final chapter of this, I want to make sure that we bring up again so many of the projects you've worked on, but one of the dare I say most important is your work with the ACLU. Come on now. Yeah. Can we talk about that? You are an ambassador for the ACLU Women's Rights Project. Now, what I find to be so cool about this is that you, of course, are doing this because you're trying to be an advocate, but you're also like bringing your own comedy. There's an interview where you said how you never stop talking about sexual health in your act. And there's also a portion where you're talking about mental health professionals, how they don't always listen to Black women when we talk about our pain. There's a story about you being hit by a car in college and being ignored by doctors in the emergency room. I mean, I'm assuming that these experiences sort of led you into wanting to work with the ACLU. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as a woman who, you know, has health, I do want us to have rights in this country, and I do want us to be taken care of. And the ACLU has been so great about like telling me what's happening in legislation that I wouldn't be aware of otherwise. And it's really been a symbiotic relationship where it's like I can, as a comedian, kind of turn a lens of humor onto something and like hopefully make something that you would want to pass on to a coworker or a friend or a family member to like help them digest why this issue is important. And I've been working with them since 2014, and I feel lucky because they approached me and they were like, we feel like what you're saying and how you're using your voice aligns with the work we're doing. And I'm like, hell yeah, I like hearing that.
does any part of you feel inspired by your upbringing? Because I just feel like the feeling, of course, of advocating for people who need the help is just like a very good quality to have. But you were born in Okinawa, Japan, to a dad in the military. You then were raised in Indianapolis. So I feel like, was like the otherness from that, did that inspire you to like try to advocate for that for others? I mean, or is that not a connection?
I mean, maybe. I don't know if I've thought about it like that. I definitely also just get joy from service. Like I volunteered since I was a kid. I like in my high school, I was like in the Key Club, and I would like go volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House, or like I just like that's how I like to spend my time. And also I also had a friend group that liked doing that too, and I feel like that just continued throughout my life of like, yeah, this is like what we do, and it feels good. I want to help people, but also I like seeing the result of my help too. Like, and then also I receive help too. So it's like a cycle, you know. I'm also getting help in different ways. I've also been benefited from like diversity programs and scholarships and things like that. So it's like, yeah, just keep paying it forward. And I just feel like we will absolutely see the fruits of our labor grow. And I want that to keep going.
With the darkness, I think the only way to get through it is to, again, like we're saying, advocate for our people, but also to like any place that we can control adding positivity, whether it's your work with the ACLU or just like creating content that puts a spotlight on something. It's like there's only so much you can actually do when the world is fucked up around us. And if it's volunteering with an organization or whatever, it's just, I think that for me, if I'm being honest, is where I find the difficulty, which is that there are so many options, there are so many opportunities. And I feel like sometimes it's easy to feel overwhelmed by like, I don't want to read the news right now because it sucks. I want to be helpful, but like, sometimes it feels like it's always just too much and too hard. And so I applaud you for like finding an avenue that, I mean, it's now a decade you've worked with them. Like that's not nothing. So I think it's like you probably, the hardest part is taking the first step. And then once you're there, you can actually find ways to be impactful.
Yeah. And like, you know, if it does feel overwhelming, the ACLU and also other organizations, but you know, they break it down too. If you're like, I don't know even what like group of people to help, you could read on their website and they can be like, here's ways to help, or like, here's ways to help in your community. Like you can minimize it to just like even your neighborhood. It doesn't have to be like your city. It could just be your neighborhood. Like I'm sure you have a like neighborhood council or something that has like things they need too. So it doesn't have to be like, I don't know how to help all the trans rights right now. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You can do something that's local, that it feels personal to you, that doesn't feel like, how do I fix everything right now?
Yes. And can I tell you something? I got off the phone with my mom this morning and she called me for two reasons. One is because I am quote unquote in a Super Bowl commercial, but I'm actually sort of in the background of Issa Rae for TurboTax. So shout out if anybody's watching, but truly I'm in one shot and very proud of that one shot and very grateful to be part of it. But so she was like, I kind of saw you. And I took the backhand compliment very as it was intended, which was to be nice. But then my mom went to an event in Missouri where I'm from called Promo, which is all about promoting queer rights, especially within Missouri, which is like really fucked for queer people. And both of my parents went to an event and they were saying how affected they were by it. And, you know, it really like, I give my parents shit. I give St. Louis shit because it was at times was a terrible place to be and grow up. But like it is healing the child within me when I see my parents do something like that. And I think like, again, it's just like that one step, even going to a meeting or telling your gay son that you went to the meeting, like that's already like making my life feel better. And it's, you know, it's again, something I don't take for granted. So I just, it's really special to be able to do something like that, no matter how small the move is.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I just shout out to Marcy and Rick, who I've in my comedy just raked them over the coals, but sometimes you gotta shout out the really beautiful things they have done and are doing and they continue to do. And I thank them. I love them. And thank you, Sasheer, for letting me do that. So, oy vey, we have to get towards the final chapter of this episode by me asking you a very difficult question, Sasheer. If the world was ending, you could only save one character actress. Who would you save?
I'm sure you've gotten this answer before, but I would say Margot Martindale. And I mean, that's the go-to, like, steady, we can rely on this person character actress. So
she has not been brought up in a very long time, and I think it was about time that someone did. Margot is, to me, a person who, like you said, is dependable. No matter what the role is, you can feel the Margot-ness.
Yeah.
But also, I think the big key of a character actress is you always want more for her.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know if it's a vehicle, I don't know what it is, but like, you know how Patty is obviously getting these incredible roles, not only on Broadway, but of course in amazing TV shows and film. Like, I feel like Margot continues to work, but like, you want like a Jean Smart moment for her too.
Yeah, I really do. I do. Yeah. I saw a trailer for something she was in, or I don't know if it's coming out or if it already came out, but about like the syrup heist. There was like a syrup in Canada. Her and some like bumbling security guards are like stealing syrup from this factory. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to see Margot Martindale in a heist movie. Yes.
I mean, hello. It's like, in a way, it's like you put those type of women in those wacky scenarios. Margot Martindale's also in Cocaine Bear. Like, again, it's like a syrup heist in Canada, a Cocaine Bear. Of course, it's Margot Martindale. I'm picturing all of Octavia Spencer in the Ma memes. Like, there's something that's just like so delicious about that. And if I may take a quick pivot, I feel like someone else who deserves, while she's not the same type of character actress as Margot Martindale, Octavia Spencer, but Anna Faris, to me,
I love Anna
someone
Faris.
who really, really deserves. And I just posted that there is a press release that came out about a movie that Anna Faris is doing with Isla Fisher, Leslie Mann, and Michelle Buteau.
Ooh.
And it's called Spa Weekend. And I just want that to be injected into my veins. And I want, it's like, like us gay guys, like book club. Let's take it back. The First Wives Club, like an ensemble of women. It's just, it
feels good.
It feels good. And I like that cast sounds great. And Michelle Buteau, I want the world for. But Anna Faris is, there's something about her that is, she looks like a popular girl in high school, but she's a fucking weirdo. And
she's so weird and so funny, just naturally. Just like as soon as she starts talking, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, she's like, what's it's a Ryan Reynolds movie. Fuck, people are gonna get mad who are listening who know it, but it's like whenever, is it the House Bunny? Actually, I take it back. Is it the House Bunny where someone introduces themselves and she has to say their name in a growl? Sasheer. I think that's the House Bunny. And then she's also, she's just so fucking weird and Scary Movie. That franchise made me gay. Regina Hall deserves. I mean, there's just an unending list of women, and you, Sasheer, are on that list of women who fucking deserve. I'm so grateful you came on That's a Gay Ass Podcast. I have not buttered you up enough to tell you how incredible the Best Friends podcast is with Nicole Byer as a podcaster. I know how much work and how hard it is to make a great podcast, and we feel like we are best friends along with you, and we know the importance of a best friend, and you are a trailblazer. I hope that we can continue this manifestation of you doing crazy roles. We're going to get you those stunt parts in action films. It's all going to happen. So, Sasheer, thank you for coming on That's a Gay Ass Podcast. And will you please tell the listeners where to follow you? And if there's anything you'd like to plug.
Oh, well, you can follow my socials at The Sheer Truth. It's THE Sheer Truth. I only have Instagram right now, I guess. I think I have TikTok, but I might be getting rid of it. Definitely got rid of X. And My website is Sasheer.com. You can watch my special, The First Woman, on Hulu and YouTube, and Agatha All Along on Disney Plus. Inside Out is also on Disney Plus. You can watch The Dad. Be a normal dad.
Thank you for giving us that little Easter egg. Those are all linked in the description, Sasheer. Thank you so much for coming on, and congrats on being a fucking badass, gay, funny queen. You're a dream.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is so fun.
Thanks for listening to That's a Gay Ass Podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to vote for us at the Queerties Awards. You can vote every single day until February 25th, and that link is in the description. But also, speaking of links, you should go to patreon.com/gayasspodcast, because this week's bonus episode is with Chicago Dom Daddy. And if you follow Chicago Dom Daddy, you know what you're in for. And if you don't follow him, you're in for an explicit chat. It's giving XXX. We talk about a lot of graphic things that he is into, including sexual experiences involving all 5 fingers, knuckles, and palm. It's fisting. He likes fisting. That is at patreon.com/gayasspodcast, and it's only $5 a month. All right, y'all. Enough of that. Enough of me, and enough of this fucking siren. I'll see you next week for another gorgeous gay ass guest. And as always, stay gay. Bye. You've been listening to That's a Gay Ass Podcast, hosted by me, Eric Williams. If you want to see and hear more, make sure you're subscribed to us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or Patreon at Gay Ass Podcast. That's a Gay Ass Podcast is executive produced by Eric Williams and produced by Nathanael McClure. We'll see you next week.